So here's there was a story. I'm gonna give you the headline, and then we're gonna play a little video. And I'm hoping we can pick up on this later on because Juliet Moses, I hope she's watching. I'm sure she watches all of our shows. She's been very quiet about this recently. Annie O'Brien, Dane Girard, all been very quiet about this. Somebody needs to ask them why leaders in Israel are asking the IDF soldiers to shoot deliberately unarmed Gazans. It's a killing field, is the quote. IDF soldiers ordered to shoot deliberately at unarmed Gazans waiting for humanitarian aid. IDF officers and soldiers told Haaretz, which is the newspaper, they were ordered to fire at unarmed crowds near food distribution sites in Gaza, even when no threat was present. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed, prompting the military prosecution to call for a review into possible war crimes. And then the first paragraph just says this. Israeli soldiers in Gaza told Haaretz that the army has deliberately fired at Palestinians near aid distribution sites over the past month. Conversations with officers and soldiers reveal that commanders ordered troops to shoot at crowds, to drive them away or disperse them, even though it was clear they posed no threat. One soldier described the situation as a total breakdown of Israel Defense Forces ethical codes in Gaza. That sounds like an oxymoron. According to the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza, 549 people have been killed near aid centres and in areas where residents were waiting for UN food trucks since May 27th. Over 4,000 have been wounded, but the exact number of those killed or injured by IDF fire remains unclear.
Hell.
So all the people who are saying, I mean, for people still to say Israel has the right to defend itself today, 2 years later, when is defense turning into genocide? I think we know the answer to that question, but if you're still using that Israel has the right to defend itself, you need to ask yourself that question. But I understand there's a bit of pushback coming from some quarters that are now trying to blame Hamas for firing upon the people who are waiting at food.
Right. Okay.
Except, of course, the people know where the shots are coming from. And they're coming from where the Israeli defense. I don't think Hamas has snuck into the IDF forfeits and gone shooting at them anyway. It's coming from that side. Here's about 90 seconds from Al Jazeera, a report on that story.
Israeli soldiers have reportedly admitted they've been ordered to deliberately shoot people near food distribution centers in Gaza. The Haaretz newspaper reports some soldiers told it they'd been instructed to shoot them at aid sites run by Israeli forces and US-backed GHF. The head of UNRWA described the GHF as an abomination and a death trap, while
The GHF is a American evangelical-backed, quote-unquote, charity, who the leader of that is very good friends with Donald Trump. And they are the ones who are supplying the food at the locations that the IDF is now shooting at. Now, I'm not going to draw the connection between Trump, American evangelicals, and the actions of the IDF, but some may think that, there's a bit of a honey trap if ever I've seen one. I think it's too long a bow, but to say now that the group that is providing this food is backed by evangelical Americans and run by a good friend of Trump's, at those sites, the IDF are shooting and killing unarmed people, almost feels too surreal for words, Chewie, that those connections are all there and why they would be there.
I'm just looking at the Wikipedia article. Look, if 500 Palestinians have died at your aid stations, you're not being a very good aid station. 4,000 wounded.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that people are after the first one, second one, third time it happens, right? The only reason that people are coming back to that aid station is because of how desperate their situation is.
100%.
These people have been marched from one end of the Gaza Strip to the other constantly for near 3 years. Anytime they stop to rest, the refugee camps get bombed. They line up for aid. It is not enough. There's too many people going for it there. And you've got Israelis on either side that might just decide to fucking open up on you with machine guns, sniper fire, rifles, drones, and tanks.
Well,
That's like...
Hey, the thing is as well, now you can get the full circle, right? For weeks it's been reported that children have been turning up to Gaza hospital with sniper bullet wounds to the head. This makes logical sense. You know? So the things that are coming together, the gunshots are coming from where the IDF is. This is making sense. So all the things that have been reported previously that are people like, no, they all tie up into a nice, neat ball of evidence now to go, this is absolutely happening. There is no way around this happening.
Pat, sorry, I just forgot. I forgot. We're getting outraged about this when we should be getting outraged about something else.
Oh, the
An
hostages?
artist at Glastonbury started up a chant that said "Death, death to the IDF."
Oh,
you know, the people that are doing this, we should be angry and upset about that. That's more offensive. That's like visceral, you know, that feeling of rage. That's actually because of what an artist said at Glastonbury, not because of this story that we're talking about, which is a black stain on everybody that says that they're part of the international rules-based order that has let this happen for near on 3 years. The right time to stop this would have been fucking immediately.
Yeah.
But every day, every week, every month, every year that the developed world has let this go on, the moment that the US has vetoed every UN action to fucking stop this is a stain on all of us. And here in New Zealand, our weak leaders have just been wringing their hands and occasionally making a statement. Like, I thought about this today, right? What would happen? What would happen if our jellyfish of a prime minister suddenly grew a spine made of fucking titanium and just went, you know what? I can't keep watching stories about this. I'm going to fucking YOLO our defense forces into the Mediterranean with a ship full of aid because I'm sick of seeing it. Let the Israelis take a pot shot. What's stopping any country doing that?
Yeah. Well, listen, let's get into this story. It's a terrible story. I am chasing some interviews about it, which is why we're just kind of talking about it briefly tonight. The other thing to mention as well, we're not going to show it, but in the article, it talks about one of the ways the leaders, I think, of the IDF have been communicating or ordering the soldiers to shoot, as they've said, and I think they've used the word communicate. They need to communicate with the Gazans with live bullets. So let's get into this bit.
Said the militarization of humanitarian assistance in Gaza amounts to a war crime. Doctors Without Borders called for the aid scheme to be halted, describing it as slaughter, masquerading as humanitarian aid. Despite those,
if Doctors with Borders is not on your humanitarian side, there's something with your side.
Israeli media reports Israel's largest benefactor, the United States, announced an additional $30 million worth of military assistance for the organization, saying this.
We call on other countries to also support the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, in its critical work. A track record of distributing over 46 million meals distributed to date.
Do you think he will talk about the track record of the number of people who have been shot and killed? I don't know if he'll talk about that track record, though.
All while preventing Hamas looting is absolutely incredible and should be commended and supported. From day one, we said we are open to creative solutions that securely provide aid to those in Gaza and protects Israel. This support is simply the latest iteration of President Trump's and Secretary Rubio's pursuit of peace in the region.
But Palestinians in Gaza say the reality is they're facing what feels like Hunger Games, being attacked, starved, and shot at just for trying to feed themselves and their hungry children. Sama bin Javed, Al Jazeera.
Chewie. Thoughts before we go into our last piece for the night?
2 words. Motherfuckers. So I've just been reading up on GHF. They've received $500 million in funding, and apparently have distributed maybe $7 million. Well, their operation has expenses of about $7 million. $7 million. $7 million is a much smaller number than $500 million.
Yeah, much more.
So it's not about aid. Somebody's making bank out of a genocide.